raise your hand if you were there with us. We sat there and we had this serious talk with these women about their life. We were dumbfounded with the suffering that these young women have been through. Expelled immediately when they got pregnant, they're expelled from their families and they have no way to live or anything. And some of them had actually been abused in their families, you know. And what we heard was, so then we were like, and then they do this birthday thing out of nowhere. I'm like, what? So, in fact, if you could go back, Heather, on my dresser, there the white ribbon, it's on where my earrings are, that they gave me is rolled up right there. Anyway, we couldn't believe what we were hearing. It was so intense, and then we started talking about all their lives, and we said, what do they need? Because now they have, this is what they gave me. They wrapped it, what is it even? Yeah. Isa Bukur, this is probably for you. Here, Sherry, you can see.
Sherry, help.
Translation.
So,
I was trying to remember that word.
So we said, okay, so they have now, right now they're being delivered, all the goats. Many of you gave goats, and many of those are going to this Abaga, this Women of the Light. Those who return with the light is what they're called. And so we goats, and then mattresses are being delivered right now. Some of them were delivered that day, and so that's incredible. We got the goats, we've got the mattresses, we have a couple of cows to give them that All Saints by the Sea had given us, so those will go to this co-op. But then they said, okay, so as far as a business, or what do they want to get going? It's land. And this was incredible because exactly 5 years ago, we were sitting up with, who was with the Tuirabana, our first time there. And we were sitting around this big circle of women on the grass, and they're telling us their stories. This was 5 years ago, so it's early on, and at the beginning of our work, and we're sitting in this big circle, and they're telling their stories, and I went, oh, wait a minute, I'm an unwed mother. You're my co-op. You know, I had this epiphany right when we were sitting there, and what they needed was land, Tuirabana, which means we will raise our children, and we bought, and so the same thing, 5 years ago we raised the money for the land, and then we bought a cow, which they named after my mom, and the cow had a baby, and so we gave them a choice between Andy for Andy Williams or Frankie for Frank Sinatra. They chose Frankie, so there's Marilyn and Frankie, and then the baby is after my stepfather, love of her life, Herbie, so there's all these, it's all perfect. But they named, we talked about different names for the land, and they ended up naming it Toyopa, which is the street I grew up in the Palisades. So there's this piece of land in Rwanda called Toyopa, and it has been so bountiful for the women that it gave them the courage to start this cafe, and they named it Dignity Cafe, and we were blown away when we've heard that that's what they had named it, because these women had been trashed. You know, and they get pregnant because they're so poor that they have sex in exchange for a pair of shoes or promise of a meal or whatever. I mean, literally, they were starving, and that's how most of them got pregnant. So they have these kids, and anyway, they started this cafe, and it's doing very well. And we all were there. We arrived at Tuirabana, ready to have a big ceremony with all the public officials that day and everything, but the rain clouds were accumulating overhead from the morning and getting bigger and bigger, and we're like, Justin, I said, Justin, we have 2 minutes. It is going to lay down, and it did, and it started pouring. All the government officials in Tuirabana, we all rushed to the cafe.
As soon as the locals started running,
we all went,
we knew that it was time.
That's
to book
funny.
Yeah. We just hauled ass with everybody and started and continued dancing in the cafe on the porch, and it was a wild and incredible time. But their Dignity Cafe, they are now the people with the most dignity of anybody in the region, because they have the cafe and the solar panel and the electricity and the refrigerator and the TV, and and now their companion cooperative called Abishitsa Hamwe are the bakers, and so they are selling their bakery items, and anyway, that is just a swarm of joy. I mean, it's the joy is so bountiful. We could barely stand it, I would say, for 2 weeks. It was nothing but intense joy and comprehending their lives, them comprehending us, and I don't know how to describe it. Just there were 2 solid weeks, you guys have to understand, of 2 solid weeks, every single day, all day long. This co-op, then another one, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever. And every time, it's a whole world unto itself. It's its own people and thing going on, and but they are in love. It's a love affair that they have with us and we have with them, more than any man thing I've ever known. It is a deep love affair because we have given them the joy in their lives, and for me, they have given me the joy. You know, I mean, it's so huge. The emotion is so huge. You can't contain it. You can't pack it. It just.
Love affair, did Michael?
No, but we had 3 great guys with us, actually.
Jen, what are you going to use the land for?
So land is just for crops, is to live.
It's right now what they're renting.
They're renting some
Is
little
that
farm.
their business?
No, we'll see. Their business will come in the future.
So we don't know what their business
No,
is.
but the other group, Urumuri, which is they are doing bricks. So we're going to find money for their brick business, which is going to be like our other brick business, Ruganaheza, which Heather is monitoring.
I just wasn't sure what
Yeah,
they were
that we don't know yet
do
because
as a
there's
business if the land.
no. The
was
first
gonna
thing
be
is they need
their
land so they can
business.
eat.
Just they want to
just
go
food.
to beauty school.
Yeah, some of them want to go to vocational, and they have all of their high
yeah,
school
yeah.
terms have been cut short. These new women, nobody is in school hardly because they had a baby. They couldn't do anything. Some of them tried to do it secretly, and anyway. So we're going to try to raise money to. A lot of people, sort of pledged sponsoring some of these women to go to finish high school, and then some want to go to college. And anyway, but I just can't. Those of you who have been following this, I don't know. Thank you all for. This is the best life anybody could have. I feel. I mean, we sat there in a circle in Rwanda with Justin, and we're all crying, and I mean, Justin saying very seriously what this work is, what we are really doing together, and I just said. I can't believe that I have the chance to know someone like this human being called Justin Bisingema, who is, if you don't know him, if you haven't seen videos of him, just think of Martin Luther King, except he's Rwandan. And that nothing less, I mean, he is that powerful. His power as his love and his solid leadership, his inspired leadership is something to behold, and the fact that we get to work with him, and he's equally grateful to us because we give him the chance to do what he thinks God sent him to earth to do, and we give him that chance. We give him the tools, So it is a love affair, this entire thing with all these people. So I am.
Janet, thank you for sharing your Rwandan love and joy with your world dancers because we all feel it. It permeates through us.
Thank God,
You are a killer queen, and you have your royal subjects.